How are you? What have you been up to?
Oh gosh, well, I'm trying to plan a new editorial for kids, so that's nice. And actually I'm just casting at the moment. So a funny one. I won't tell you what it is, but it's a good one. So I'm quite excited, a bit creative.
Creative director, you're a creative director. And that can mean lots of different things to lots of different people. What does it mean to you?
Well, it really depends who I'm working for, but creative director really is the big overarching big idea. We are in control of lots of different elements. It is the digital, it is, it is a lot of film going on at the moment. I don't know whether you've had a lot of that. There's online presence, there's all sorts of things, but they need to all be relatable to a brand. So if I'm working, say, for company or a label or a designer, try to make everything be true to them, I think is what it is. So rather than things be disparate, they're one big creative idea, and I control that.
Do you work with mood boards, and how much, if you work with mood boards, how much do photographers and the stylists get involved with it?
It's always very dependent on jobs. I probably work closest with a photographer, and it depends who they are. Some people don't do a thing, and some people love to have creative input, and it's lovely. I mean, I personally love a collaboration, and it's made more difficult by being like this because you tend to see each other and chat or meet up and you spark off each other. Meeting over, a Zoom meeting or something, it's not the same. The noisiest person has the floor, as you know.
Yes.
He who is speaking first tends to get the lion's share. And, if you meet people in person, it's much more, conversation flows in a much nicer way. But yes, I tend to work a lot with the photographer, but then I've also tried to give direction to the stylist. And then I like people because everybody's an expert in their field. So I love them to have their input. That's important. I mean, that's why people are creative. It's not, I start off the idea and they can expand it. So I think I like to feel I'm collaborative with people and appreciate people's talents as well.
And obviously you work with menswear and women's wear. So how different is it working, with children in the shoots?
Children is fun, to be honest. And it can just go off on one. And they do. I mean, sometimes it can be frustrating because they don't always want to. I'm talking about being on set now, when we're actually on the shoot or we're videoing it. And they do their own thing. And sometimes they don't want to play. They might have a career. So I think you've just got to let it go. And sometimes they do the most brilliant things. So I love it, really. And it's really funny because Kidswear has sort of taught me quite a lot about, for women's wear, it gives you good ideas because women's wear, they tend to be quite a bit more uptight or they tend to pose a bit more. Older children tend to do that, or somebody's got a preconceived idea about what
beauty and pose.
Of a beauty. What's a model? What's a model? Yeah. Oh, I meant to model. And I said, can you stop putting your hand on your leg like an influencer? It's like, you know what I mean? And I laugh at
them. Up on your toes, isn't it? It's like a toes and one leg bent.
Yes, one leg forward. We know it all. We know all the tricks. So it's quite funny. But kids don't always do that anyway. You sometimes children that have modelled too much, they suddenly come on to set and they put their hand on their hip like you just got to try and
gradually shake it off.
That's why it's lovely when children are together because they might do something a bit more spontaneous. So anyway,
so you work freelance. So what are the benefits for you because you remain to work freelance?
I love working freelance because it means I get to work for lots of different people and I get to meet lots of different teams. I think some people love the security of being with one company, but then you're a little bit more one-dimensional. It's not for everybody because it's, you don't have the security of being, maybe paid every month or something, but the benefits are, I'd say, outweigh it because it's fun. Suddenly on a Wednesday, I can just go, I can go and meet a friend, I can do that, or I can do an exercise or do something else. But freelance means I get to work with, you know, bigger companies. I did travel quite a lot. Nobody's going anywhere right now.
I know.
Yeah, but I like that. I think it makes, you know, you have a bigger, wider perspective on what you're doing.
With the pandemic, I mean, have you found that the work is kind of dried up, or do you feel that brands are needing more content?
I think people are looking for solutions right now. I mean, I know we're all a bit worried about the high street and everything like that, but I think business will go on. It may change how it works. And, you know, customers are really interested in content, and perhaps you don't just show clothing. You might have another bit that's part of your brand that you think, you know, might be applicable, is all I can say. You know, some of the children's wear brands are doing activities or something else that's interesting. And I think you just have to think out the box in this. And I know lots of businesses are like that as well, not just our business of fashion. You know, they have to think, how else will we appeal? I think it's not dried up, that's for sure. It's not dried up, it's different.
The awkward world, what are you doing with that at the moment?
Oh, Awkward World, well, I'm just about to do spring issue. So I've got about probably 8 stories in the pipeline. And I have actually, I mean, there's quite a few, there's some people here are doing something, but I've got quite a lot of people in the States doing stories. They're not as quite as restrictive in certain states on their lockdown as us, and they've got better weather. So there's a bit of all that going on. But yeah, no, I'm in the middle of waiting for all the stories to come back.
What is your day like at the moment? I mean, how do you kind of keep positive? What do you do?
Oh, my day. Well, I've always got to do a bit of exercise. If anybody that follows me on Instagram knows I'm like the burpee queen and the whatever. So I'm not I mean, I've read lots of things online about you better have a routine. Well, I don't. But I've been freelance, so I don't need a routine. But I do think it's important to do some exercise. It clears the mind. It makes you feel a bit more creative. I can wander all about, you know, no 2 days are the same, and it's the same pre-pandemic. It's just different, that's all.
Well, I think actually we've got loads, but it's just so nice to have a chat with you.